I want to talk to you about the thing nobody prepares you for when you become a teacher, the emotional labor. Not just the work of managing a classroom, the work of carrying other people's struggles. You feel it, right? A student whose parents are divorcing, a student who's not getting enough food at home, a student who's dealing with trauma that no 14-year-old should have to deal with. You feel it, and you can't turn it off. Most teachers I know are high empathy people. That's probably why you teach. Because you care, because you want to matter, because the idea of kids struggling without an adult in their corner breaks something in you. And that same quality that makes you a great teacher is what's going to burn you out if you're not careful. Rick Rubin calls this connected detachment. It's one of the most important and misunderstood concepts in creative work. Connected detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care deeply while maintaining the necessary distance to sustain that care. Think about it this way. If you attach yourself to every outcome in your classroom, if you make every student's success or failure your professional success or failure, you won't last. You'll burn out. You'll blame yourself for things completely outside your control. You'll go home at night replaying conversations, worrying about kids, and unable to rest. But if you completely detach, if you say none of this is my responsibility, I'm just here to deliver content, you become a different kind of person. You become cold, and your students feel that. They sense the indifference. Connected detachment is in the middle. It's saying, I care about this student's journey, I care about their growth, and I will do everything in my power to create conditions for them to succeed, and I will not make their success or failure my identity. That's the only sustainable version of the work. Here's what this looks like in practice. You show up fully present for your students. You listen, you see them, you remember what they told you about their weekend, you celebrate their wins, you sit with them when they're struggling. And then you go home and you let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because your ability to show up fully tomorrow depends on your ability to have a life outside of school. Your ability to rest, to have relationships, to remember who you are when you're not in teacher mode. This sounds simple, but I know it's not. Because so much of teaching culture is built on the idea that if you're really dedicated, if you really care, you'll sacrifice. You'll grade papers until midnight. You'll think about your students during vacation. You'll make your whole life about the work. That's not dedication though. That's the beginning of burnout. That's the slow erosion of the person you are. Connected detachment says your dedication is measured by the quality of your presence, not by the quantity of your sacrifice. You can care deeply and still have boundaries. You can be emotionally available and still protect your emotional well-being. Let me give you a specific example. A student is struggling, like really struggling. She comes to you and tells you something difficult. You listen, you validate her experience, you help her find resources, you check in with her over the next week. But then you have to let it go. You have to trust that you did what you could do in your role as her teacher. You have to accept that her outcome is not entirely dependent on you, that she has other adults in her life, that there are things about her situation that are outside of your control, that her healing is not your responsibility to complete. That's not callousness, that's wisdom. That's the only way you actually serve her long term. Because if you burn out, you're no good to her or anybody else. The second part of this is recognizing where you actually have the power and where you don't. You have power over the learning environment you create. You have power over how you respond to students. You have power over your planning and your curriculum and your classroom culture. You don't have power over family situations. You don't have power over student trauma. You don't have power over whether a kid decides to do their work or not. You don't have power over systemic issues that are way bigger than your classroom. Connected detachment means you pour everything into the spaces where you have the power, and you consciously release what's outside your control. Now, here's the thing that's tricky. This isn't cold. Students actually sense this and respond to it, because what they're responding to is genuine care combined with healthy boundaries. They feel both. They feel that you care about them and also that you believe in their capacity. That you're not going to rescue them from every struggle. That you're going to support their growth while also letting them develop their own resilience. That's the most powerful teaching stance there is. At TYay, we're seeing the importance of this play out. Teachers who are building sustainable practices aren't the ones who are trying to transform every student's life outside of class. They're the ones who are creating powerful learning experience inside of class, and then letting go. But here's the practical piece. Letting go is hard, so you need systems to help. You need a way to track students' progress so you can see the growth that's actually happening. You need a community of teachers who understand what connected detachment looks like so you don't feel isolated in maintaining it. You need permission to go home and not think about work. So here's your Monday morning assignment. I want you to make a list. On one side, write all the things you're responsible for as a teacher, the things where you have real power. Your lesson planning, your clarity of explanation, your classroom culture, your feedback, your presence. On the other side, write all the things you're not responsible for. Student home situations, family dynamics, the student's decision to do homework or not, systemic inequity, budget constraints, things outside of your control. Then I want you to pick one thing from the second list that you've been carrying. One thing you've been making your personal responsibility when it's actually outside your control. And I want you to consciously let it go. What does that look like? It might look like not staying up until midnight worrying about a student's family situation. It might look like not checking grades on your phone during vacation. It might look like having a boundary conversation with a student about what you can and can't do for them. Connected detachment, deep care, clear boundaries. It's the only sustainable version of this work. Let me know in the comments what you're going to release. What responsibility are you going to put back down? Subscribe and we'll keep building a teaching community that understands sustainability isn't selfish. It's the foundation of the best teaching. See you Monday.